Hi everyone, it's Kendall here. Things. My makeup, yeah. My makeup is killing it. I did not record this in a tutorial. I don't know why I brought attention to it. Prism palette. Anastasia Beverly Hills. You are welcome. 2, I made a Snapchat. If you want to follow that, it's the same name as all of my other social media. KennieJD. Follow me there, see what it's doing down in the chat. Snapchat, is that what people call it, the chat? I hadn't used it in like a year or two and I had no idea how it works anymore. It's been a learning experience. But you didn't come to hear about that. You came to hear about everyone's favorite story time. So, people with money are fascinating. I've met my fair share of people that have money. I've come to realize that they come in 2 breeds. There's one that's like never tells you that they have money and you just happen to find out somehow. Those are the people I tend to be friends with. They're cool people. They want you to know them for their merits and like their talents and ambitions and their being like as a human being, and I dig it. Just because they have money doesn't mean anything else. But then there's also the other type of rich people that just want you to know. They need you to know because they don't really have much going for them besides that. I'm sorry. And this is a story of just being around a bunch of people like the second. I didn't really want to tell this story because I knew for a fact that one of the dudes was subscribed to me, so this would be awkward. I don't know if he's still subscribed to me. If you're watching, hey, how you doing? This will be awkward for you because you're gonna hear about kind of my thoughts the entire time we interacted with each other. So this night was the night I got stalked. If you haven't seen that story time, it's a classic. And if you have seen that story time and you recall, I was stalked by a random man in the middle of Hongdae. So this is the last time I was in Korea, the 3rd time. So that would have been in August, no, late July or August, I don't remember. And so I was in a bad mood. As you can imagine, I had just been stalked for a significant amount of time in dark alleyways in Hongdae. But we eventually make it to a restaurant just so that we can eat one before we go clubbing. And also my friend, what did I call her in that story time? Janet, wanted to meet up with some of her friends and then their friends of friends. So basically it was just a bunch of people that I didn't know, but I met through other people that I didn't know that well, who I met through other people that I didn't know that well. So it was just a bunch of strangers, basically. Of these strangers, some of them were like really, really cool. Like me and this one girl, we actually ended up being really cool with each other. She's really nice. I don't think you watch my videos, but if you are watching, hey girl. But the rest of them were like Korean bro frat kids, and I've had my fair share of experiences with Korean bro frat kids. I don't know why I'm saying they're Korean, because to be honest, it doesn't matter. All bro frat kids are the same. They're all friggin' obnoxious. But we are in Korea, so if you want a visual, they're Korean and bro frat kids. We meet, they're nice enough, and basically we're like, okay, we'll buy dinner because we were here first, because they had come to meet us, and we were like, okay, we'll pay for this, but you guys can buy the next round of drinks. So we all, as a congregation, end up going to this bar. Well, we went to several, but we ended up at Cocky Bar. For those of you that are familiar with the area, Cocky Bar and Thursday Party are 2 very, very popular foreigner bars in Hongdae. It tends to attract a lot of foreigners for some reason. I don't actually know why. And I had never gone to either of these places prior to this trip, but I went a lot this trip for some reason, because I know the reason they kept dragging me there. It was interesting in the sense that I ended up meeting a lot of subscribers at these places, which is also kind of strange too. It's like, I missed it. But anyway, as we're like going from place to place to place, these dudes just really want us to know that they got it. They got the bar. They got this round, they got that round, they got that round. And I was like, wow, that's unexpected, because the dudes I know don't buy nothing. Not a thing. Can't afford. But as we go from place to place, they're like, I got this. I got this. I got this. No, I got this. Point where they were actually saying like, I'll get this one. Like, I want to get this one. And that just never occurs to me, because at no point is Kendall like, you know what? I want to buy the round for all of us. Keep in mind, this was like a hefty party, somewhere around 7 or 8 of us, something, give or take. That's easily like maybe $100 or so per round, and they were doing that all night, like all night. And I was like, what? They got money. These dudes have money, because I ain't gonna complain. I didn't have to pay for nothing. Actually, that's the reason why I kept hanging out with them, because I never had to pay anything. I didn't pay for barely anything on that trip. When people were like, Kendall, how do you afford to travel? Well, when you meet some like fratty douchey dudes that like to spend money, you save a lot of money. So the last place we ended up was Cocky Bar, and one of my subscribers is actually a bartender at Cocky Bar. What up, girl? How you doing? But I was cool. If you don't believe me, ask her. I was okay. The fratty douchey dudes were like, you know what we should do? We should buy several rounds of flammable shots. Even Lit Kendall was like, that seems like a bad idea. You gonna burn the place down. They bought them, and to drink these, you have to put a straw in the drink as it is lit on fire, and if you wait too long, the straw will melt. So the straw would melt and we'd get a little flame on the table, and I'm like, I have too much anxiety for this to be, I wouldn't even be able to do this sober. Like all these drunk people around here, and I'm just like, y'all giving me anxiety. I sober up very quickly. Somewhere around this time, I realized that we hadn't really gotten to know these kids. But before that even like crossed my mind, one of them, who I'll call Jeffrey, was like, everybody party at my house. Everybody come to my house. And I was like, rich people don't have no sense of security. Like, I know I'm not gonna steal from you, but like, you don't know that I'm not gonna steal from you. And he's like, everybody come to my house. And you know what I said? Hell yeah, I'll come to your house. You know why? Because you got money. I'm curious how you lived it. So we all climb into a taxi. Ooh, I wanna describe what the building looks like. I'm not saying he lives in this place, or actually I don't think he lives there. I think his family, like his grandparents or somebody lives there, but he might live in a place that is called the Lotte Castle. If you ever look up pictures of the Lotte Castle, it is one of the most obnoxious buildings that I have ever seen in Korea. It is stories upon stories upon stories. It is gold and obnoxious. Like, it dwarfs other skyscrapers in the area. That is the building that was the apartment that he stayed in. And Lit Kendall didn't see anything strange about this. She was like, yes, I belong here. I have money. Lying to myself. Yes, I make hella money. Yeah, this is like the crew. This is like my squad. If I recall correctly, it's connected to a department store underground as well. So it's like you go through one door and it's a department store. The next door, it's the apartments. This really, really big lobby that is also gold accented. They have security guards that must buzz you in. Everything is super like extra. So I'm like, wow. So this is how the other life lives. This is how it goes. Okay. So we go in. The apartment is large. It's very large. It's large to most people's standard overall. But the thing is, like, it's large, and it's in Seoul, and it's in Chamshir, and it's in the Lotte Castle. If this place was in like a random suburb somewhere in the United States, nowhere near like a large metropolitan area, this would not impress me. But in Korea, you don't see apartments like this. Apartments like this aren't common at least in my experience, because space costs so much in Korea. Square footage is just incredibly expensive in Korea. So I was like, yes, you have money. And at first I was like, did they rent it? Did they rent this area? But then I saw pictures of his grandparents, and I was like, God, they live here. They pay rent here. And through my humble estimation, I'm expecting that someone living in a place like this would easily spend, I don't know, I haven't researched it. I guess I could research it, but that feels weird for some reason, like going so in depth on the amount of money they spend to be in this place. I would say easily $10,000 a month to live in a place like this. And I was just like, you know, this is nice. And this is, if I recall correctly, the first time we actually had a legitimate conversation with these kids. I'm calling them kids because that's when I realized they were like 19, 20 years old. And I was like, wow. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not that far away because I'm only 22. But when you think about it, for those of you in college, think of it this way. I'm a senior and I'm talking with people that are just getting into sophomore year. No, I graduated. Think about it that way. I graduated and these are kids going into sophomore year. I just felt very out of place all of a sudden. This was another thing. We were like eating in their apartment or whatever, and this is when I was just like, wow, you're just so extra. There was a bunch of garbage before the night was supposed to end, and I was like, oh, I can help you guys clean up or whatever. He was like, oh no, it's fine, like our maid will get it. And I was like, see, boy, me and you just have different frames of references, because he said it so casually, like, oh, don't even worry, like our maid will get it, it's cool. But beyond this, I came to realize that beyond the fact that we have different amounts of disposable income, I realized we didn't really have that much in common. There were nice-ish. They were kind of rude, actually. Not to me, but to each other. They were just really dicky. And I know dudes are kind of like that. They like to like mess with each other. But they also had a friend that made a rape joke, and I was just like, y'all still keep them in your arsenal? Like that weirds me out. That's not cool. We're getting to learn more about these kids, and they're all like finance majors, which did not shock me. Like every like fratty kind of douchey Korean kid I ever met was a finance major, like explicitly was a finance major. And I was like, I don't want to like build a stereotype, but you're not helping. Like, so, and of course they're like doing this to take over like family businesses and stuff, which is shocker, because if this whole experience doesn't scream Chaebol, I don't know what does. Chaebol grandsons. And I remember thinking like, well, that's nice, but to be honest, y'all kind of get on my nerves. Like personality wise, like this is cute or whatever because I'm on vacation, I'll hang out with you, and also y'all pay for stuff, but do I see us like being friends beyond this? I'm sure they would agree. No. Now I'm gonna keep this part as ambiguous as possible so you can be as confused as I was, because I woke up next to two people in a bed, one of which was my friend Janet, the other was her boothang Jeffrey, who was actually the dude whose apartment this was. So have you ever seen like videos of like the mummy, like when he rises again? That's what I did in the bed. I was like, what the hell? Somehow my body remembered that I had a toothbrush there because we went to a convenience store before going to the apartment. I'm like brushing my teeth, hella confused, like what the, where am I? This is a nice ass toilet. Like, and Korean bathrooms have this thing where there's like a bathroom and a shower together. Like there's no separation, but this was like a marble shower. If I remember correctly, it was like gold. It was just really nice. I leave out of the bathroom, there's just drunk people on the couch, and I'm just like, what happened? So I go back into the room. It occurs to me that no one is naked, so that made me feel a lot better. No one's naked, it's all PG. And I get my stuff and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna go, girl. Where am I? And she's like, you're in Chamshir. I was like, how did we get to Chamshir? I thought we were in Gangnam. She was like, no, we never went to Gangnam. I was like, okay. I was, again, recall that they had been buying a lot of rounds, so apparently it just hit me late, like very late. Like, I guess my survival instincts like kicked in the entire time we were like traveling. So I woke up confused. I'm looking down, we're very high up, on a very high up floor, so also money, because like the higher you go up, penthouse, my love. It wasn't a penthouse, but it was like closer to the penthouse. I get on the elevator and I again look at all the embroidery, look at all the shiny stuff, look at all the gold, and I'm like, where am I? I get to the lobby, again, the big beautiful lobby with the police officers, and there's two there. They're chatting at the main desk. Gorgeous men, just beautiful, beautiful men. And I don't know why I felt so guilty when they both looked at me and they were like, in the most warm and welcoming, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say hello to me so nicely. Just the most warm and welcoming 안녕하세요 ever heard, and it made me feel guilty. I don't know why. You know why I felt guilty? Because I felt like I was living a lie. I don't belong here. I ain't got no money. Like, I can't afford the air here. I can't afford the water. Like, literally, if we had like our apartment the size of the circumference of where I'm standing, I could not afford to be here. Like, in the back of my head, I'm a fraud. I don't belong here. I got in on cloud alone. I ain't got no money. But instead of saying all of this, all I say is just 안녕하세요. And I walk out. I go to the Chamshir subway, and on the way back to my Airbnb is when the blank spaces kind of filled back in. So what had happened is, while we were at the apartment, my friend Janet and what do I call him, Jeffrey, were supposed to be like a thing happening, and Janet decided to go into the room with the guy, and all I remember as I was brushing my teeth was hearing, Kendall, come in here with me. And I assume it's because she didn't want to throw that ass for the dude yet. I think this was the first time they had met in person. I always feel real uncomfortable when I'm used so explicitly as a cockblock, but I was like, I'm gonna be a good friend. Even messed up, Kendall's like, I'm a good friend, I'll be there. And that was my job, to be a cockblock, and I'm happy it worked. So yeah, that's why I was in the bed with two other people, so that they wouldn't have sex. And that's the first time I went to a Chaebol dude's apartment. Not what you were expecting at all, I'm sure. Sometimes I feel like I need to end these things with like a moral, but I don't even know what the moral of the story was. So if you like this story time, I don't know why you would. If you like this story time, don't forget to like this story time, as well as comment and subscribe. Hit that little bell notification. You know you want to hear all about it. Yes, love. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and now Snapchat. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.